I messed it up. Hold on.
I missed. Come on.
Get your last licks in here, Annie, with that microphone.
We're gonna just do it live real quick.
Maybe I'll figure out a way to put these on that side. You're just so quiet. I never even deal with them.
I'll just do a good old fashioned intro. I did this for
your intro.
25
Good
hours.
old-fashioned
did.
intro.
Your
Whatever,
creativity should
whatever.
never go away. No, you're done. That was your intro.
Never gets old.
We're back
Hey.
in the room of 25 hours. And the alligator's back on the wall.
I put it back up yesterday.
Oh my god.
I instinctively reached over to switch to my camera. Is that weird? Because I saw you on your phone. That's what 25 hours will do to you.
That's trauma, man. We've been through
gosh.
it.
Ready
now.
for this? Ready for this? Think about this. We did more time last week in the studio than we have in the entire year, I think.
No, because we've had what, 40
How many
something
episodes this year do you think? we've
40.
had?
We were at 42. Well, our last legit episode.
Oh, I
was
guess we only
42.
had like a couple.
We were
there.
in here for 29 hours.
Okay. Again, with
hey,
Remember,
the
look,
Kara was
numbers.
counting.
We're
Kara
getting
was,
it.
I've been up
That
for
was
5
that
a.m.
was my biggest
Yes.
thing during the whole thing is that anytime somebody would come in and be like, "Oh, you've been here 14 hours," Kara would go,
Nope.
"Nope,
I've been here for
we've been here for
17."
17."
We made her the numbers girl. We gave her a pen and paper.
That's
true.
what we get, huh?
It's true. I was up for 30 hours that day. 30.
Well, welcome back to What the Podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm John.
And together we are
Ryan and John.
on the couch, as always, producer Cara Philly and the lovely Annie Scoveman.
Wow.
Yup.
That feels right.
Feels right. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that thing we did last week? Briefly.
I think we
Because
should.
I think
Well, only because I know us, and we're not going. You're like anybody that didn't watch it live won't probably be able to see the full thing.
they'll see clips.
So yeah, they'll see clips,
and
but
it's
they
kind
won't
of
see
one of
like
those
the full
things.
thing,
If you missed it, I mean, what were you doing?
You missed it. What were you doing
Yeah.
for 25 hours?
A lot of people that were on there for a long
In
time.
case you did miss it, we were live. We had a What the 25-hour live stream.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the reason we did this, we still don't really know.
That's my favorite reactions is like
Why
my parents were
25?
like, "Why are you doing it?" And, well, not my mom. My
We're
mom was
doing it-
always down.
Oh,
My
of
dad
course,
was
of
like,
course.
Why are you
Both my
doing
parents,
it?
that was the answer. I was like, yeah, we're doing on Friday, we're doing a 25-hour live stream. And they said, why? Oh, sorry. I'm getting a call to my Apple Watch right
From
Dynata. What is
What?
Dynata. Let's answer it.
Dino. Oh,
"We're still in the live show
Hello?
experience." It takes a second.
Hello?
My name is Jen Parks from a national research firm. We are currently doing an important study about some issues across the country.
No, thanks. See, that was the kind of energy you
No
would have
thanks.
experienced. And you know what?
No, that was
Hey.
1000%
isn't that the best?
energy.
Old
Isn't
habits
that the best part
die
about
hard.
the
They
watch?
die hard, you know? What?
You don't have to even grab your phone to answer a phone call. Isn't that
I will
awesome?
say, what's crazy about having an Apple Watch, by the way, I'm a better human now because I'm
Your video
Right.
today,
1000%.
hilarious.
me smacking my personal
we'll
assistant.
pop up that
so
TikTok
good.
later.
Yeah, we'll have
That's
to.
awesome.
We'll have to. Oh, will we?
Oh, it's already in the works. Okay.
What's crazy is the thing literally buzzes and lights up when I'm getting a text or a call, and I still feel my phone vibrate in my pocket when it doesn't.
Oh,
do you ever
mine-
get that
mine
when you can feel the
sometimes-
phantom vibrations?
Yeah.
Oh, Phantom?
I get it. Well, where there's nothing.
Wait till you get them for the watch. I get them all the time for the watch. I'll go in
Oh,
there
no,
like,
I do
and
too.
nothing's there.
I do too.
Yeah,
But then
I was
you
fully
always
doing
know
that
the
during
time.
the live stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
Did you charge your watch during the live stream?
not a once.
I
Can
didn't-
you
I
believe
didn't
it?
either.
It lasted the whole thing.
Mine
Pretty
last
good.
2 days. My
Yeah.
charge.
Mine can last.
Best thing you can
I-
do
I
for
check it too
yourself,
much.
little tip, is only charge it like every 2 days.
Yep.
Turn it off at night, or if you wear it at night, I don't know.
Interesting.
Because that'll save your battery. The watch is notorious for bad battery. Like the first
You
year
got
when I
there.
had one,
You got there.
yeah, sorry, I'm still figuring this out.
That's fine.
talking.
That's fine. By the
it's-
way, and another thing with the live stream is we were getting a lot of slack for all the slip ups
Yeah.
we're back now. So
We're back, so
I'm
back
gonna,
off.
I'm gonna call it out pretty much every time.
Thank
So,
you. It's
yeah.
notorious for like, losing battery life. My first one I ever had, I charged it every night like my phone, and
Yeah.
within a year I couldn't go a whole day without it because the battery just kills
wow.
itself.
That's good
over
to know.
time.
Shoot.
That is good
So
to
don't
know.
overcharge it.
Well,
Dang.
all that to say is it lasted all 25 hours
And that's
of the
great.
live stream. But so we were right here in the studio. We had friends come by. We were eating food. We were playing games. We were chatting it up, doing some good old podcasting.
Yeah.
What were some highlights for you, John?
Well, Lily coming by was great.
Oh my
my gosh.
gosh.
She's so funny.
I literally forgot about parts of the show.
Yeah,
Isn't
me
that so
too,
funny?
me
I'm
too.
like, yeah, she was literally in here like chilling, and they brought us cookies and stuff.
And I think that was kind of what was so nice about the 25 is that we knew we had time. So
Mm.
like in these episodes, if we're talking about something for too long, one of us will try and steer it a different way or change
Yeah.
it up because we know like if we talk for a full hour about one topic, no one's going to stay on. Like when we were live for 25, we were like, hey, we needed to fill time. So it was kind of like I would say more authentic a
Yeah.
little bit in some
Yeah.
ways and some ways not. Obviously we had some pretty crazy hours where it was
Yes.
just like madness.
oh
but
yeah, at one
and
point I think we had like 8 people in here.
yeah, they were
or
like
something.
they were
And
sitting around
I was
here.
in the
and-
wings to come right after,
And
and
he
I was
was
like,
standing by the
door
I
like,
seriously
"Guys,
I can come later,
guys."
guys. I
I know I read that
There was
text
like
when we
people
started.
on the floor.
our-
But that's what was great about it is like the openness to have moments of chaos was like
Yeah.
really made it fun to be a part of. I'm not sure fun to
having
watch,
this
but
entire room. I think that was my favorite part. Was having this entire room crammed with so many people.
oh my gosh, I loved spooky stories at 3 a.m.
I think that was one of my
as
favorite
much as I
segments.
hated it,
I
I
was
also
sitting
Kara
loved
was
it.
on the floor.
I was sitting
Yeah.
on the floor
Oh,
on
yeah.
a pillow eating
I-
tacos.
and I took a video of Taylor antagonizing
That was
the ghost, which
hilarious.
was so funny.
Oh
he was
my
just
god.
like, "Come for me." And I'm like, "Okay." all
Okay,
right.
I
And
literally-
you hear Kat in the background like,
She's like, no, no.
Taylor, you
isn't
probably
me."
shouldn't do that.
And
my
Kat's
gosh,
like,
she's-
this
she's
is just
dead
Taylor.
serious,
He
too.
speaks for
Yes.
himself. None
Yep.
of us. Only him.
That
If you're
was
gonna come for
for
him, you come
sure
for
getting
only him.
when the lights were down and Kat was leaning into it and we had the pictures on the screen.
And
I was
Taylor had
fully
the-
believing it. I was like, okay, this is real.
And we talked about
Ghosts
it
are real.
off air before we started, but I think we were both really thinking that someone was going to come in, like
Yeah,
Michael, like they
easily.
had pre-set up
It was
something where
such a
Michael was going to
good-
come in with a doll. 'cause
It
we
was
were
such a
freaked
good
out.
bit that I was
Yep.
like, oh, and then they're gonna scare
Oh,
us.
the creepiest part for me was throughout the entire night having the little like video monitor of the garage because
Yes.
the garage was open
Yes.
for most of the
Yeah.
night with the light on. So I would look at it and be like,
Yeah.
someone's gonna come. Someone's gonna come.
I
with the
realized that,
garage.
and like right around probably Ghost Stories is when I started like shutting it and opening it as I knew things were coming because I was like, I didn't realize having the garage open is
Yes.
still a pretty risky thing to do.
Yep.
You know, we're in a
Yeah.
good neighborhood,
Just
but
in
you
life.
never know.
Just
You
in
know,
life.
just
You know.
for the fans, right?
Yep.
Come on in. But
was quite a
we
night.
played games. We
We
just
talked
did all
about a lot of
7 of my
stuff.
games, by the
we
way.
played all of the games.
I didn't think we would hit all of them,
All
but we
of the
did all of
trivia.
them.
I think my favorite one
Go ahead.
was the very last one.
Oh, the most expensive eats.
Most expensive eats. Just the
So
vibe
random.
in the room. No. The vibe in the
Yes.
room was so like that
done.
last few bits.
Yeah.
I could tell you were like, okay, so we're going to play this game. Most expensive, least expensive, and it's expensive.
Well,
Okay,
Bobby,
and we're done.
Bobby came by and he was saying, which guess I didn't realize, but
Yep.
he was like, it's funny because he watched and he
Yeah.
obviously was here. And
Yeah.
he said, you guys went through like moments where I could tell you guys were kind of annoyed with each other, and then you'd come back, and he's like, and I felt like he said he felt like he came at a time where we were all kind of at each other's throats.
Yeah, but I thought what's funny is that thinking about it now, I feel like Bobby was only on for like 5 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was on for
I
like
realized-
an hour and 15, I think.
Oh, yeah. And he was a great guest, too.
Oh,
All
yeah,
of our
so-
guests were great.
We had
Yeah.
a good run, a really good run in that evening. You know, we
Yeah.
had Bobby, we had Michael, and then we had
Taylor was here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Michael was like mixing up cocktails. Oh, my gosh.
Oh well,
Yeah.
it went Annie,
Uh-huh.
Peter, Austin,
Nope, you're missing
Nope.
one.
right?
A
am
pretty
I
significant
missing?
one that probably put
It
in the
probably
most
became
hours.
part of the furniture
Part of
for
the
you.
show.
Oh, Tyler. Well, Tyler was there for a long time.
He was.
He
There
came.
for a long time.
Yep, and then we
And a
had
good time?
Austin on video.
Yep.
And then
Oh, that's right.
So fun.
And then who else? Who came in the middle of the day?
Um,
Oh,
Peter, you
Michael
said.
dropped off
Michael
lunch
was here for
because he
a
was a
brief
savior,
moment. Yes.
bringing us
Mhm.
lunch. And then
And then it came like Megan and Anna.
Yes.
Came,
Anna came
and
with
then that's
Lily.
when
It was like an in the
they
round
left,
moment.
and then that's when it came Bobby.
Yep.
It went Michael. It went that
It
whole
was that
big group
lull
for a long time.
There was that lull of guests when it was just us and Tyler.
We did macrame.
Because at that
That was
point
the
I was
macrame
like,
moment.
Tyler's just here.
We're doing
He's just
macrame.
here.
we were just sitting
He's
here
not a
talking.
guest
right
anymore.
before it was Michael, I think. At some point, Michael
Right
came back, and then
before-
he left, and then all the kids, Trevor and Noah and
Yeah.
Emma.
Yeah.
Oh, and Carrie was here for
Carrie
a
was
moment.
here.
30
she
minutes.
had that like
Yeah.
vegan
Yep.
bakery, the gluten-free bakery.
those were great.
Shout
It
out
looked
to the
amazing.
gluten-free bakery. Their stuff is so good.
I was so jealous of you guys.
I
Carrie
feel like
won-
you're going back to your live self. I can feel you going back to it. Shout
your
out.
sunglasses.
It's the shout out for me.
Oh,
shout
yeah,
out
where's
to the,
my
the
sunglasses?
vegan bakeries.
Hey,
you know,
shout out to the vegan bakery. When
Literally-
Cara kept insisting on the fact that she would fall asleep like
Yeah.
halfway through the show.
She was like,
Yeah.
And at that
hoarding
moment,
points.
Cara leveled up.
Yeah,
she
yeah.
absolutely became
Oh,
like
I have to tell you
this
that
version of Cara that I only have seen a few times in my life
when I'm psycho.
when she's
I
a
have
psycho.
a funny story about you, but go ahead and say
Yes.
what you're gonna say first. Karen.
I was gonna say that if I didn't have a pounding headache, I would have fallen asleep. The headache
Yeah.
was
Pushed
like,
you over the
not
limit.
allowing me to fall asleep because
Yeah.
it hurt so bad.
And then once you got over your headache,
And then once I got over the headache,
you were
second wind.
reborn.
second win.
One of
I
my
have the sunglasses.
It
Yeah,
really,
that-
Oh
that
my
really
God.
helped too.
That saved
it was like the
my
mask,
life.
you know.
It saved my life.
You know,
It was
the
a-
mask,
Yeah.
right?
I feel like I was
Jim
meeting
Carrey.
somebody new
That's right.
when in those hours. But also, my favorite story
That's
was
my girl.
we turned the lights off. I think it was for when we played. What was
Spooky
the game
Stories
we
to
played?
Tell in the
No, it was the
Dark.
game we played with all these
No.
people. What was it?
Mafia. We were playing Mafia.
Mafia.
No, but I don't.
Yes.
Maybe it,
Oh,
it
was
might
that
have
when
been
I,
Spooky
when
Stories.
I was here and I
We-
smoked a cigarette?
We turned the
Yes, Cara
we
was
turned the
smoking a
lights
cigarette in the
off
corner over there.
on purpose. Like
Yep.
I do it on my phone. Turn it all off, and Kara's like looking for something over here by like the rack,
Mm-hmm,
and all of a sudden she like pulls a random cord, and she goes, "Is this it?" And I go, "For what?" She goes, "The lights." And I was like, "No, I turned those off intentionally." And
'Cause
she's
I
like,
was-
You're
"Oh,
joking.
okay."
It's
She's got
'cause-
that one single
How
It's
plug.
because when
How did I
dropped
even
her
miss
water
that?
bottle, and then the lights went out.
Oh, it wasn't my water. It was somebody's hydro flask because I was over there because it was so
My
busy.
God, that's
and
so
a hydro
funny.
flask dropped, and I
And then
thought it
You thought it
unplugged
unplugged.
something because at the same time that it hit the ground, John turned the lights off. So I was like,
It was
that cord?
it was this plug, by the way. She thought it was this
Which
plug.
goes to nothing.
doesn't
I
go
don't
into anything.
know.
Currently, I mean, it does go to something, but not right now.
That is
I
the
I was
best
literally
thing
was
this
I've
is the
ever
plug
heard.
she
What the
thought
heck?
Is this it?
controlled all of the
You should've
lights
just
in the
said,
studio.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep,
Plug it
that's
back
it.
in.
I was like, what? Because when the lights got out, everyone in the room was like, kind of looked like they weren't supposed to go out.
And you know they had that look on their faces pretty much the entire stream. So by the way, just lost.
That was my
Completely
favorite
lost.
Cara story because you could
this
I could
it?
tell you were so serious. You were like, "Is this it?" Like, and I was like, "For what?" You're like, "Oh, the lights." I was like, "No, I turned those off intentionally." Like,
How the heck did I miss that? That's
it
so
was
good.
so good. It was on right here.
Anyways,
She was
all that
eating,
to
eating
say,
gummy,
That was great.
gummy
if
worms.
you missed
I
that
was.
25-hour live stream, or you missed parts of it, maybe we've intrigued you with our stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be on the lookout for that because eventually we will sift through all of our footage,
Clips.
all of our
Yeah.
clips,
I think so.
and we will upload some of them.
Yeah.
Why not?
Whatever that looks
Yeah.
like, we don't know yet, but
Yep.
Yeah.
really great times.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, it's inspired me. Like the future of this podcast is looking really bright, in my opinion. I
Yeah,
don't know.
well, and we talked about it too a little bit about like how we maybe missed a few opportunities. Like it would have been kind of cool to do actually raise money for something, which is something we just hadn't had the kind of foresight to plan. But the next one we do,
Hey,
we'll
but,
definitely have.
But what's
that.
new? I mean, that's
Yeah, I
how we
know.
run this thing.
But I'm
man,
saying,
is-
what you're like you said, it's like it's only gonna get better, and like in the future, we're not done doing these. We had a
Yeah.
lot of fun,
Yeah.
and then the next time we could be raising money for like a
Yeah.
really cool cause, which I'm excited about.
absolutely. So we'll definitely do that in the future.
So how much caffeine did everyone have?
My final Red Bull count, I think, was 5, which is 5 more than I had last year. And I had 2. I think I had 5.
You had 3
had a
in the
bang
last
and
like
3.
5 hours.
I had a bang, and I had 4 Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had
that
a
makes
sugar-free,
sense.
a regular, a 2 peach.
But I was
think.
kind of matching you, and I don't think that I had 5.
I think
unless
I
you
snuck
had
an extra
something,
one in there
but
somewhere. Well,
yeah,
I had
potential.
that bang was what I snuck in,
And
and,
I think-
then I had 2 double shots of espresso.
Well, when I started you guys off, you had already
Yeah.
had coffee.
We started off with coffee, and then I was
Oh,
drinking.
that's right. You were drinking
then you
the
put-
a
dark
regular
horse
cup.
coffee.
But
Yeah.
then you put like
And
this
the-
Bailey's.
Oh, I
pumpkin
was drinking the
liqueur.
pumpkin
The
spice.
the black coffee was uncountable for you. I think you just kept kind of
That
going
was
over
just
there and
general,
just-
And then how many
operating.
shots did you have from the espresso machine?
2 doubles, I think.
yeah, you did. Yeah, you did too. Yeah.
So
Wow.
all in all, I don't know.
A lot.
A lot.
So the
Whatever
daily
that is.
the daily max is 400 milligrams of caffeine.
And one of those Red Bulls was like 3, right?
Yeah,
3?
I can check.
300
Yeah.
milligrams.
No, I think it was. I think one Red Bull was 250.
Nonetheless,
So
Too
I,
much.
I definitely maxed it out. So.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I
and did
still
not
can't
slow
believe
down. I have not slowed down since.
that's like. It really shows that caffeine really doesn't do anything to me because I had 2 shots the entire time. Because
What do
I
you
had
mean?
one sip.
But you also were kind of live stream Cara, you know what I'm saying? So
That's true.
Maybe
One
if
can.
you
So
maybe
had
it
more,
did.
maybe
Hey.
you would have anchored down a little bit, you know? I don't know.
I had
Hold
2
on.
shots.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Whatever happened was perfect.
and then
don't
I
change
tried
a
the
thing.
espresso from the
No.
machine.
That's
Didn't
what we
love it.
wanted.
I had like 1 sip, and then I had 1.5 spin drifts, which John thought were spiked.
I
You
assume
never
they
know.
were.
I mean,
I don't know.
One can of Red Bull has 111 milligrams
Oh,
of
okay.
caffeine.
Oh, okay.
is
So
that
not
what
so
it
bad.
said? 111.
But I mean, but-
111.
I was thinking
mixed with the
1100.
coffee,
And then
you're still way up.
one shot of espresso
Way
has 50 milligrams. I'm pretty sure.
So you can have 4 cans of Red. I don't think people should drink 1 can of Red Bull.
Nope.
No, I
Well,
think
'cause
it's
it's sugar.
Like it's battery acid. It's
It
not good.
literally, dude. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, John.
Pair it with a little vodka, you might change your mind.
That's the John Albright drink of choice there.
Oh my gosh.
So what are we talking about today? Are we burnt out on podcasting? Are we
No.
just,
Never.
just gonna hang out now?
Nah.
Well, there's a lot going on in the world. I mean, big news is the Gabby Petito case, which I know is still breaking.
Pretty
so
sad.
maybe it's a little too early to talk about, but it's worth mentioning. Maybe.
I don't think so. I think it's happening in the world, and it's
Yeah.
you know, the more I was listening because Crime Junkie just put out a podcast about
Yes.
it.
Already?
They
Wow,
put,
they're
and
on
it was a
it.
couple days
Shoot.
ago. Well, they like added one into their normal schedule to talk about it.
Wow.
And she said something on it where I was like, you know what? I think that's a good point. Where she said, I felt weird talking about it because it's not really my story to tell, and I don't want to kind of like sensationalize things if
Yeah.
we don't have all the facts in the middle of an investigation. But then she brought up this idea of, but if it was my daughter and I was the family in this situation, I would want everyone who
Yeah.
had even one listener or one follower
Get the
talking
word
about
out.
it, especially since her fiance, boyfriend, whatever he is, can't be located.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
Double
that's
am.
kind of interesting. I think it's worth speculating because I think a lot of people are, but reality is it just sucks. And Crime
Yeah.
Junkie, I saw their post, and what I actually saw in there too is they have a organization now that it's like a nonprofit. Let me see what it's called. It's called Season of Justice.
Okay.
And they obviously raise money. And then they give grants for people to look into cold cases. And they recently solved one.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? Like one of their grants led to solving a cold case.
Guys, we could do that.
That's pretty. Hey,
we did solve that
Whoa,
murder
we
on
did
the.
We did solve a murder. We solved a murder.
I mean, that
of
case was
of
open and
sort.
shut. Let me tell you.
True.
Andy Allen
You
was,
really broke it with the left and
guilty.
right hand. You were like, he's left-handed. And I was
Well,
like,
it just.
what?
I just look.
Spoilers if you ever
Spoilers,
play that
by the
game.
way, for that same stupid thing that
whatever.
we cracked the case. But they made it kind of obvious, like right off the bat, and maybe I'm just
Right
like,
off the bat.
whoa. Well, on the so stupid, but it's not something that they would include in a what do they call that? A
Report?
No, the report of the body. They're looking at
Oh,
the
an
body.
autopsy?
An autopsy.
Like,
They're
we
like,
never
it
asked
must
you.
have been hit by someone who's left-handed, like in the autopsy report. And I thought that was weird, but
The
anyway,
best part
spoilers
too
for
is there's
that.
that virtual element. So you were kind of typing it in, and then you were like, "We solved it." And we're like, "We did." And you're
Yep.
like, yep.
I just typed it in, and it said we solved it.
Yep.
And then we're like,
And it's just right. That's just your notes. What do you?
Oh.
It just says we solved it.
This is chaos.
Ryan was so over it. He's like, we're done.
No, but
Let's move on. Let's
Yeah.
play D&D. Come on.
the case. Oh gosh, don't get me started. The case of Gabby, it's all over, and I think it really gained notoriety because of TikTok, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's kind of interesting. Is I didn't even know about it until we talked about it on the show. I was like, that was the first I'd heard about all
and
this
we
stuff,
fully watched.
the videos and
We watched
everything.
this
yeah.
police body
Well, the
cam
body cam.
footage.
That was
It
the
was
stuff
like-
that was going
was a
viral.
I was
week
just laughing at like,
Yeah.
why did people
Okay,
watch
so
that?
She went
the
missing.
sad thing is, so my dad has been keeping up with the case.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he said the sad
Robert's
thing
on
is
it.
that, so in California, when people are pulled over like that, and you can tell that he was pretty much, like, he had all the marks on him that he said
Like
that
she
she
had
did to him.
resisted, like beat
Yeah.
him up or something.
That she would have been in California, she would have been taken in
Into
custody,
custody.
right then but in Utah, there's different laws.
Yeah.
course,
Well, have you?
typical.
So it's so sad because in that regard, she would be alive.
Yeah.
Well, the whole video is like so sketchy too. Like just her like mental well-being, like whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like even then, it's like you can tell she's
they were
mentally
like,
unstable.
"Oh, okay, they just got in a fight. You're free
Well,
to go.
they
Like,
have
go
this
on your
They
way.
split them
recording.
up though, technically.
Yeah. So
Right.
there's like legal
And they interviewed her.
separation.
Ugh.
But
But
there's
then what?
the audio of the two police officers talking to each other of what to do, and it sounds like one is like training the other.
Mm-hmm.
And Crime Junkie puts it all in their podcast, like the section of it.
Okay,
but it's
cool.
really interesting. Kind of they explain to both of them separately. They're like, we either have to charge you with assault, or basically we can't leave you. And the one officer tells the other this kind of moment of, well, if we kind of just give him a warning and then something happens, like it's on
So
us.
sketchy.
Yeah.
Where that's
So we
the
have
difference.
to like legally separate them.
That's the difference
and serve
between
the papers
states.
and everything.
Yeah.
And they were just kind of deciding on what to do. Like, do we take her into custody? Do we just let him go with the like promise that they're going to separate? Or
and hindsight's 2020, obviously. We
Oh,
we
yeah.
can go, oh, he should have, intervened and taken her away because then she would be alive right now. I mean, of course we could do that, but you could do that with
And-
any
Well,
case.
and
And
if
you
you
got to
listen-
imagine that happens all the time, and there isn't a murder involved in those
Right,
instances,
right.
So
Which is still kind of unconfirmed, question mark? Like,
Yeah, they confirmed
yeah.
that it's her body, but they haven't confirmed a reason of death.
So
Yeah.
you could
really?
go down
Did
the...
they
Yeah.
even confirm the ID? When did that happen?
yes,
it
that
was like
yesterday.
an hour ago.
I think it was, like,
Really?
No, they found a
Recent,
body
like, today?
within like a couple
No,
of hours
yesterday
ago,
they
said
said
something
they-
about
yeah.
the findings of her autopsy.
Yesterday
were
they said they
conclusive.
found a body, but they weren't able to like ID it as
And then
Gabby.
the dad came and
Yeah, they
ID'd
ID'd
it.
it.
And
Sad.
then, but they still don't, the autopsy
The
report
last
hasn't come
I
out yet.
read was that the autopsy report had come out today,
Oh.
and I'll double check this
Yeah.
before I just start
Yeah.
spilling fake
Well,
info.
and this is kind of an interesting thing to what you were saying about the podcast and us talking about it still being pretty fresh.
Yeah.
In the news, we started watching this show, Only Murders in the Building. I don't know if you've
This
seen this
is-
show.
I started
Yes.
watching it.
Great
So-
show.
So good.
Spoilers for that show. We're going to talk
yeah.
about it
It
right now.
was-
It was this afternoon that it was
Yeah,
confirmed.
Confirmed.
It confirmed, and they
Her poor father.
Washington
Can't
Post
imagine.
said, coroner rules that death was a homicide.
Yeah.
Wow.
Initial determination is homicide.
I mean, it's
Which-
interesting because
Well, there it is.
I mean, okay, we should maybe start a timeline if we're going
Yeah.
to talk about it because I think
let's
We're
go
just
there.
like throwing things.
Let me
we
just
should
let me
just
just
go
finish
there.
my piece before
Oh,
we
go ahead, go ahead.
break into
Please.
it. Is Only Murders in the Building
So good.
is a great show,
It's
and
so
it's all
good.
about these people that kind of witness this not witness it, but like this murder happens in their apartment building, and they are obsessed with these crime podcasts, and so
Yeah.
they kind of try and solve this case while doing this new podcast. But the last episode, which by the way, again spoilers. They kind of address the fact that like, oh, this is Selena Gomez ends up having connections to the guy, and like
Yeah.
they're making money essentially off of this dude's like death.
Death.
Is like
Yeah.
so it
Because
begs
they
the
have
question
a
like
sponsor for this podcast.
yes they
Yeah, that's
they
right.
get Nathan Lane gives them a check for $50,000 and they kind of wrestle with, okay, are we gonna now like basically make money off of
Off of our friend's dead friend.
our friend's dead friend?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this thing, and it kind of struck me
Because Selena Gomez's character backed out
because
in that moment.
now
She was
obviously
like, I'm done
she
doing
doubles back
this
and is like,
podcast.
let's do it for him, like
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
solve this case and whatever. But
Yeah.
it does beg the question, like, what do these crime podcasts,
stand for. And
sure, are they doing it because they just like the weirdness and the mystery, or it's
Almost
like,
like the macabre of it.
yeah, or
Yeah,
or you
that's
can
interesting.
but then you reconsider because this is something that's happening in front of our eyes, and we're going, oh, is this just like content, or is this
well, and I wonder too. I know it's I know it's human.
not to stop
fascination-
us, that is to say, not to stop us from talking about it, because I do.
Yeah.
It's
No,
really
for
interesting
sure.
to me, and that's probably why these shows do as well as they do.
And I
But-
think it is about like humans are just like innately, drawn to this kind of stuff, which
Of
is why these
course.
podcasts are so successful. But I also think there is a level of awareness that's happening, and
Yeah.
that's the positive, right? It's like
Yes.
people are getting to hear these stories and how these crimes were committed, and they're going, okay, now when I'm walking in my car, I'm going to make sure that I'm like thinking. I know it sounds morbid, but like
Yeah.
they're going to think of the podcast and going like, okay, this is like a very vulnerable spot. Like I got to be like kind of more vigilant than I normally
and
am.
it is,
or
and it really
whatever.
is like serial killers or just murderers in general. It's just fascinating because
Yes.
it's something that is so like
Their brains are wired so
yes,
different
like
than ours.
everyone is, but really everyone is capable of that.
Yeah.
Like a boyfriend, you know, like
Yeah, we
It's
talked about
crazy.
this on my podcast. We had a
That's
whole
right.
episode
That's
dedicated
right.
to true crime. But what if you want to just pop over to Growing Pains
Okay,
and
all
check
right.
out?
Wait, hold on.
All right, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So Growing Pains, growth and hurts and pains and
Just
grow
Pains
you.
and hurt and
ready to grow with you.
That's gonna be our
Let's
new
grow.
theme song.
that's our big theme.
Crossover.
But
Yes.
we were talking, and we kind of were talking about this idea because we were telling like true crime stories that were like a degree away from us, or that have happened in our lives.
Sure.
And I think we kind of came down to that conclusion of you have like within our lives, you know, like a person, you know, arm distance away where
Yeah.
something crazy has happened, or you know, like you have personally met someone who
Yeah.
later went on to like kill their wives
Yeah.
or something, you know,
Yeah.
something
I
crazy
think the
like
awareness is the positive, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
when you talk about why do we share these stories, right? And why
To
I
learn.
know we're all interested in it, and that's why they do so well. But
Right.
I think if you had to draw a positive, like, hey, you know what, these people are broadcasting these other people's stories, which is kind of awful. But I think the important part is, again, we're all these people are becoming more aware with, like, hey, this is what. Sometimes what it looks like when somebody's like, you know, following you or whatever, right?
Or like
strategies.
you know, the signs of an abusive relationship,
Yeah.
things like that.
I think
like,
that's a good takeaway. I don't know if that's why they necessarily do as well as
Oh,
they do.
for
I think
sure.
it's
I
we
think
love to
it's-
watch a
yeah.
car fire. You know,
I 100%. I think that's
unfortunately.
why they do well
Rubbernecking.
is
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
it's so
exactly.
interesting. But I'm saying if there is a positive to come from all these kinds of things, like I said, when you're talking
Yes.
about the morbidity, like how morbid it is to talk about someone else's death.
Yeah.
I think
Morbidness.
the morbidness. The small positive is that there is a little bit of awareness that's happening. So I
Yeah.
think that's
Actually,
kind of the
I
always
liked
feel-
morbidity was good.
okay. Well,
I always feel a little bit
morbidity
better
come for me today.
I
Don't worry
will.
about it.
listening to crime podcasts because
Uh-huh.
most of the crime happens in like a small Midwestern town.
Yeah.
Or like Florida.
And I like
always Florida.
Tell you
Yes.
what. Oh,
And I
Florida.
feel
I
man.
like-
know L.A. the night
yeah, but
soccer.
we're not in LA.
We're kind of in L.A.
I listened to a podcast where it was like a San Diego podcast, and it was
Really?
saying how an insane amount of serial killers have ties to San Diego, or like at some point in their killing spree
Have come
hit
here.
out in San Diego and all this stuff. I was like, oh,
As long as
because
they
you can
hide
just
here,
throw
not,
a body
and not
off the
be
cliff.
I
active
think
here.
that
Right?
T-Rex hid here in Jurassic Park 3, I think.
Yeah,
Jurassic Park
exactly.
2.
They could see her.
So, hey, never know.
What I'm saying is,
Dinosaurs.
we're not a small town in the Midwest, but
Yeah.
we're not near, and we're not necessarily LA, but it could happen to us.
Yeah.
in
Well,
our-
and
our
it can
city.
happen anywhere is the
Yeah.
thing, right? I mean,
Listen, I don't know.
But
Alpine's
so-
pretty close to any small town.
whoa,
Alpine is its
the
own
sticks,
world. If
you
I
know?
can.
It is, it
Oh,
is.
don't you dare, Jacob.
So
I'm
let's
sorry.
so let's
Jacob,
back up.
listen,
So
I'm
let's
sorry.
back up and get a full picture of what this looks like.
because you probably know the most about it.
Well, I just went on like a deep dive today about
Oh,
it.
perfect. I love it.
So
Give it to us, Annie.
they were going on. They left Florida. They were living with his parents at their house in Florida, and they rented a van. One of those, you know how van life is all in. Rented
Oh,
a
yeah.
van. We're gonna go
You know how
across.
wait, hold on. You know how van life's
By
in?
the way, if you guys want to, if you're interested in buying a van,
If you're interested in the van,
John's gonna
we
link
know a
the
guy.
Craigslist
Yes.
posting below.
Yes.
We're getting rid of a van, which is
Why don't you just check it out?
This is
Van
the-
life's in, guys. Just jump on board.
This is the time we
This might-
launch
Hey.
a crime podcast from a van. Too close to too weird.
I think.
Okay, hold on. Never mind.
Never mind.
Forget what I said
Trademark,
about selling that van.
trademark.
I'm gonna. Okay.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
But so they were going through all of these different national parks. Like the goal was to go on this. She quit her job. She was trying to start a blog. They were basically going to be travel bloggers, van life. And what's interesting is her Instagram page is public
Yeah.
because she was trying to be a blogger. So you can go on, and I did today because I'm a
gotta see it.
rubbernecker, and I had to,
Of course.
look
Get
into
all the
it.
info.
And what's so eerie about it is she's taking these pictures and posting these photos, and it looks like any other girl who's trying to be trendy and
Yeah.
young. And, you know, her Instagram's super aesthetic, and it's basically what so many people dream to be. And I think that's why it's so sensationalized right now, too. It's this young blonde girl who went missing and all this, you know, she's trying to be a travel blogger, and her Instagram's beautiful, and she was beautiful, and all this stuff. And I think part of this case being so sensationalized is kind of bringing up that aspect too. Is there are 90,000 people who have gone missing in national parks in the last year, And
Wow.
this one case with this
Yeah.
young 22-year-old blonde female is getting really big and a lot of attention. And it kind of brings back to, like, in my mind, like the Lacey Peterson case, where this young, beautiful, pregnant woman goes missing. And at the same exact time, a pregnant woman from, like, 2 neighborhoods down, and I can't remember if it was like a Latino neighborhood, but basically this other girl who just happened not to be beautiful and white. She was beautiful in her own way.
Dang.
Yikes.
Whoa.
And that's when Annie got canceled.
Hello? Institutional racism. No, like conventionally beautiful.
But yeah,
I get
but
what you're saying. Yeah.
One
You're
story
fine.
gets blown up and one story doesn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's another girl who has gone missing within the same timeline as Gabby, and obviously that story is not as huge.
And same
as
with
this.
a young black man too.
Yeah, that
Is
he
has also gone missing in a national park, I think.
Hey, national parks are sketchy. I love
They
them, but they're
are.
sketchy.
Don't you do it. Don't you
do
go
it.
there.
Don't you dare go there.
Don't you do it. Well, and so they go on this road trip, and they were in Utah, and it comes down to like the end of August.
Yeah.
So August 27th, I believe, is when they got pulled over by August 27th, they get pulled over, and a domestic report or domestic.
I guess someone called the police on them.
someone called. What would you call that? A domestic.
Like abuse, a domestic
Yeah,
dispute.
Like
Dispute.
Yeah,
Dispute.
like a dismiss. I can't say it. That one. Insert it.
Domestic dispute.
Thank you.
Broke out at their campsite, and someone
Mm-hmm.
called it in because he locked her out of the van, and she was trying to get in, and was basically going back, having kind of like an episode.
Yeah.
And the state trooper pulls him over later, having spotted the vehicle, separates them, talks to him about everything. And then at some point in the next 24 hours, they get back together, get back in the van, and go camping. And this is where, like, there's like a 5-day period where they just don't know. The last time her family talked to her on the phone was around the end of August, and like the 26th, the 27th.
Yeah.
And then the mom gets a text on the 30th saying, no reception in Yosemite. Well, at this point, they're like, we haven't heard from her, which I guess was uncommon.
Sure.
So they're trying to get in touch with his family. His family's not responding, won't respond to phone calls, won't respond to texts, won't even, do anything. Her mom and dad are separated. Her mom and her stepdad live somewhere up north, and her dad lives in Florida, near where his family and where Gabby was living with his family. Goes to their property. They refuse to, talk to him, refuse to let him in. Well, finally they call the cops because her family had made a, missing persons report. And when the cops go down there, it turns out that the son, the
Homeboy's
fiance,
there. Yeah.
September 1st, he was already home. He had driven the van back without her. And
Yeah.
his, so it's that idea where then the mom's like, what do you mean? How did I get a text from her on the 30th saying they were in Yosemite if he had driven from Utah all the way back to Florida?
Yep.
And in that time, like, lawyered up, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was
Well, yeah,
basically
he won't
like,
say anything.
I'm not
told-
going to say anything. Like, I want my attorney.
Yeah, they told the whole family,
weird.
even like the dad, like, if you're going to talk to us, just, here's the number for our lawyer. We're not talking or saying anything. And then
That's so
in some
freaking
time
sketchy.
between the first when they realized he was there to, kind of like making the case, in September 11th, he disappeared.
Yes.
He
Yep.
went on the lam.
So now he's what's
He's
it called? Not a
he's-
missing person.
He's
Yeah,
a person
a
of interest,
person of
but
interest.
he's
Person of interest.
Yeah,
A
he's a
fugitive.
person of interest. And now he's a
Fugitive.
fugitive. So it's going to be interesting to see what the search turns into now that they have found her
Yeah.
and ID'd her.
I mean, what other way? Now that I know that autopsy report came back homicide, I mean, what else is there? The other not probable, possible explanation is homeboy ditches her in a national park, goes home because they get in a big fight,
Yeah.
and she gets killed by a random,
right? Which,
or
I mean,
or maybe like, God forbid, like, kills herself or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks
Yeah.
like.
I mean, and I also
They're ruling
read,
it a homicide though. So
Yeah, I read
Yeah.
that when they finally got her phone, which it's very unclear where it was, that her phone had been off for like 15 days.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
one of the big things they recovered was her laptop, and they said there was a
Oh.
lot of evidence on the laptop because
Wow.
you
And
can
there's a lot
text
of-
from
And
the
what
laptop.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of redacted things. There's a lot of,
of course, it's all
I thought
which is an open investigation.
the
which
big
makes
thing
sense.
that came up was like how on Instagram it posted a Halloween post.
Okay.
And it said like Happy Halloween. Everyone was like, how is this post like because I guess they were supposed to go until Halloween. That was when their whole trip was supposed to end.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
everyone was like, why is this being posted? But she definitely scheduled it
posts.
Yeah.
for like
But what
beginning
kind
of
of,
She's
fall.
trying
but
to
what
be a
kind of
blogger.
travel
Yeah.
blogger turns off their phone for 15 days?
Yeah, it was really weird.
I don't know.
Tell you what.
I think also
you
there's a lot
what.
of criticism too of like the police department of like how could they not arrest him and how could they not
Of
make sure
course.
he didn't leave town. But the reality is, especially as a high profile case as this, I was talking with my dad about it. If you know my dad, a former police officer, and the reality is like they have to do it by the book because
Yep.
That's right.
if they make one misstep, then he'll go free,
Yep.
and that's just the reality.
And that's like that video they have of them after they're pulled over in that traffic stop for the domestic, disturbance.
Domestic
there it
disturbance.
is.
They are talking and they basically tell him straight to his face, we can't treat this any different just because she's the one. Because it's confirmed by the people who, witnessed it, him and herself, that she was the one that was attacking him. And they basically tell him, they're like, it doesn't matter that she's, you're stronger than her and bigger than her. We can't treat this any differently than if you were the one who was
Yeah.
attacking her. We'd have to charge her. And it was interesting because you listen to it and they're like, we might take her into custody and she might spend the night in jail. And he even offers, he goes, well, can I do it? Can you, take me? Because we don't, and the officer made kind of like a weird comment of like, we don't really want, a small young blonde girl spending the night in jail, obviously. And he was
Yeah.
like, well, take me, like I'll spend the night in jail on her behalf. And they're like, we can't do that.
Yeah,
Which
that's
him
not really
him
how
saying
it
that
works,
makes
but-
me think that she has a lot. She had a lot more to say.
Well, it sounded like
about
to
that
me.
relationship.
I mean, that's the sad nature of the whole situation. Is like she was defending him. She was like, yeah, like
I was
have,
hitting him,
yeah,
I
I
was
was
doing
hitting
it, I
him.
have
We're
OCD.
driving. Like I have OCD, which that doesn't really.
She was saying like
I don't
a
know
lot
what
of
that
things. I have
means.
anxiety and OCD and
Like just trying
all
to
this
make it
stuff.
all go away,
Yeah.
like sorry, like
It was on
and
me.
that's like I said, like the sad nature of a thing like this is where there's probably some like codependence, like some
Ugh.
like
Well, and I mean,
the abuse-
I was watching something, and a psychologist was reviewing that video, and they were saying that like she had a lot of signs of like, when you're in an abusive relationship,
Yeah.
sometimes the easier road is just defending the person,
Yeah.
because you're gonna like one way or another, you're gonna that person's gonna come back, and that's the mindset you're in when you're in an
Yeah.
abusive relationship. Is like he's gonna come back, so like why I don't want to make it any worse than it already
Yeah,
is,
of
so I'm gonna
course.
like take the fall for him kind
Well,
of thing.
then there was this weird element of the fiance and like the engagement where they left on the trip as boyfriend and girlfriend. At
Yep.
some point, got engaged on the trip, and then from what her mom says is they broke off the engagement
Yes.
and went back
Yep.
to just being girlfriend and boyfriend.
Yep.
So something more was
happened
happening.
along the way.
Well, and I mean, if you think about it too, they're living in a ban for like
gosh.
all this time.
And
That's a
and
lot.
you know what? And that's the terrifying thing too. Like, and really, it's maybe this is more anecdotal, but like you said, like her posts, her everything she was putting off was like this beautiful picture
Perfect. It
of
was
like
beautiful.
we're
They're,
traveling
like,
the countryside.
Their
on
van
top
life
of
and
the
we're
mountains.
yeah, and in reality, there was this really sad abusive relationship happening that ultimately ends in disaster.
And
Yeah.
I obviously I'm not defending him because I don't
Right.
think he's innocent by any means. Because I mean, if you are innocent,
Why would you
why
run
would
away?
you run into the wilderness, or why would you refuse to? Why wouldn't you speak up more of like, hey, here's what happened. This is why I left her. This is
Yep.
this is why I took the van. I don't know. It's just obviously all over sketchy. But it kind of comes down to like, he obviously is not in the right state of mind. Whatever happened was something that was not done in the right state of mind. And I think it comes back to like when we talk about murderers and, psychopaths and
Yeah.
serial
Yep.
killers, it's so fascinating to us because it's
Yeah.
like you can't imagine ever being in that state of mind where something
Kind of reminds me of
happens.
the OJ case a little bit.
Right?
Like obviously something that was committed like out of, rage, and then like doubling down the other way and be like, no,
Yeah.
I'm innocent.
Yeah.
Well,
And running
his-
away from it still.
In his book, If I Did It.
Gosh.
I remember exactly where
Kill
I was
me.
when OJ got out of prison.
Did you?
Really?
I was living in Washington D.C. and I was in an Uber going to the National Postage Museum.
Wow.
Super cool.
Super cool. Yeah, I'm sure it's
Super
fun.
cool.
Huh?
We
And
love him. We love him.
I was in an Uber pool and it was on the radio and the Uber driver turned it up and we were at my stop and we were all just sitting there quietly listening. And, the verdict got read that he was going to get let out of prison. And we all just sat there for another 2 or 3 minutes. And finally the Uber driver was like, man. And I go, well, thanks.
Crazy. Thanks for the ride.
Thank you for the ride.
And it
Good
was
to
just
see you.
It's like that feeling where
Yeah.
you're like,
Sometimes
you don't
good things happen to bad
yeah.
people.
Yep.
So rough, man.
I
Well,
don't
Don't
remember.
know.
I'm very
where I
curious
was.
to see how this whole thing shakes
Well,
out.
it's not nowhere near the end.
No,
for
of
sure.
course.
No.
And it's just
no.
frustrating because, like you said, and he's obviously missing, and it seems very clear. I mean, there's obviously we don't know the full story,
Yeah.
but it seems like he's the one that was at least played a part in this whole thing,
Right.
and his family obviously isn't
Is helping him in
cooperating,
some
and,
way, or-
and that was the craziest part is when I watched on TV that he drove his Mustang to go for a hike, and then his family didn't report him missing, but found the Mustang, drove it back, and I was dying because I was me
Wait,
and my dad were
what?
sitting there and we're and I was yeah, they probably ran it through a car wash too, huh? Because they're just
Yeah.
trying to get rid of evidence. And my dad was so funny. I mean, I was your mom would do that for you. I was I don't know. That's
That's a little too far, man.
he's I wouldn't do it. He's but I'm so with your mom.
Well,
so
he's-
we'd be
gosh.
probably
I
getting it
mean,
detailed.
he went through the system though. You can't expect him to. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
I know.
Cop. Come
Yeah,
on.
I know.
That's
I
even,
just think, yeah.
Going like
Jeez.
Casey Anthony, which was famously, got convicted for
Killing her daughter.
killing her daughter, and her mom
Rough.
is the one who reported her to the cops.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
later reported a trash bag that smelt like death, and then went back later and was oh no, it must have been just a rotten pizza.
A rotten pizza.
And
A
you're
rotten
like,
pizza.
You know that
that
rotten-
smells like
that
death.
rotten
is
pizza smell?
gnarly.
You know that rotten
That-
pizza
I
smell?
was like,
That
Totally
case
smells like
is
death.
gnarly.
Yeah.
I mean, whew.
and my mom had
That one filled me with rage for weeks.
Oh,
Literally,
yeah.
I was so pissed
That one
off.
was awful.
Ugh.
and it just kind of comes back to I don't know, this weird protection of your children that you have.
What the heck?
Jordan's calling.
How did you know
Answer it.
that?
Answer it. Answer it. Answer it. Answer it.
Answer.
Hey, Jordan, you're on the podcast. so-
Jordan.
Jordan.
On the podcast?
yeah, we're recording right now, and my phone was on ring somehow, so now they wanted me to answer it.
Sorry, guys.
No, we love it.
How does a person that has
definitely
never
thought-
seen the show get on the show? I'm baffled.
Well, I thought that 25 hours was enough for you guys.
Oh,
But I guess
wow.
Hey, quick question. You have a comment on the Gabby
FOMO.
Petito
FOMO.
case? You have 10 seconds to give your thoughts on Gabby's case.
so sad. I feel like the boyfriend is dead.
Yep, me too.
Ooh, yeah, somewhere
me
in
too.
the
What?
Well, so you heard
think
that
he
they
killed
they
himself.
found
I
a,
do too.
they found a body near his house or something.
Yes. They found a body near the
No.
parents' house,
he's
and it
gone,
hasn't been.
yeah.
Unconfirmed.
Yeah.
But
that was my theory, is that he was
What?
going somewhere to kill himself.
Yeah.
Why didn't we talk about this theory?
Oh, that's kind of
we're
the
literally
big-
wrapping
it's
up
kind
the
of the big
subject,
thing.
and
Yeah,
nobody
we were
thought.
getting there, John.
Well,
Perfect,
Wow.
Jordan. Perfect segue.
wow, what a good podcaster, John. Wow.
okay. Well,
Okay, I guess we'll just do a pod deck now. Thanks, Jordan.
thanks, honey.
All right, I'll let you go. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Love you.
I forgot you have my iPad. I was like, how did you know it was Jordan? I thought you saw it from when I pulled my phone. I was like, wow, you got good eyes.
It said "Sweet Jordan Rose."
That's true.
Okay.
So yeah, the boyfriend is definitely dead.
Yeah. Oh
Well,
yeah.
hard to say.
I didn't.
You didn't hear that
I
part?
haven't heard this theory at all. So
Well,
Well, it's not a theory. It's just an unconfirmed
I just saw
report,
on.
so-
I can't remember if it was Twitter or TikTok. Someone posted the news article about body found in Florida, and the person who posted it was like, "I really hope this isn't the boyfriend because she needs justice."
yeah,
I saw that too.
Yeah.
it's gonna be a tough one.
All right, pod deck.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was fun.
I'm having a hard time because a lot of these would you rather's we were lightning round at one point.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tyler was
yeah.
reading them out and he put them all back in the box. So I'm trying to find a
How dare he?
Typical Tyler.
classic Tyler.
How dare he?
Classic person that's not here we can blame.
That's true.
I might have to just go to a different deck.
Wow.
wow.
I mean, there's I'm remembering all of these.
Yeah. Well, while
Yeah.
we're waiting for that, did you guys know that today is the only day that you can sing "Do You Remember"?
Bum, bum, bum,
The 21st night of September in 2021.
What does that matter?
Because 21st night, 21.
Okay, I guess.
Come on. Ever and ever.
Do you guys remember where you were at 12/12 on December 12th in 2012?
And do we sing it tonight or tomorrow?
Wasn't that the end of the
This
world?
is the 21st.
I remember
Yeah.
where I was
Right?
on 11/11/11 at 11/11.
Oh,
It's
I
the year
don't.
before.
I was at Godfather's Pizza.
When the world was supposed to end.
I was in choir class.
Wow.
I was in
knows?
choir too.
Connected.
I remember. On the night where the world
John,
was
where
supposed to
were
end.
you?
No idea.
Loser. I don't remember. What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
Oh my gosh.
No clue.
In 2012, when the world was supposed to end, like the exact time, it was right before curtain call of Robin Hood. All
Okay.
Got a good one.
I love that.
right, go ahead.
7707. That was like the day everyone got married.
Everybody?
7707. Well, that was the thing in the
Everyone
news.
in the
I don't
world.
remember.
You don't
Seven,
remember that?
seven's a lucky number. 777.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was like a big deal.
Okay, Ryan. Do you have one yet?
I've got two kind of weird ones. I want to remind everyone that you can right now go to poddex.com and you can get 10% off your order,
Yep,
your
yep.
purchase of any Poddex decks
Oh, Dex.
Dex.
Dicks.
with the code WTP. This is from the Would You Rather deck.
All right.
Do you want number one or number two?
2.
I have to assign which one's number one. Would you? Okay, we'll do this one. Would you rather spend the night in a dumpster
The other
or
one. Whatever that-
in a porta potty?
Oh. I'm going to go for a dumpster because it's more roomy.
Porta potty.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
A dumpster.
What
A
if it
dumpster
smells?
opens
And
it
I
up
guess
for.
they both smell.
Oh, they're
huh?
both gonna smell. A dumpster opens it up for like various smells, like rotting food, rotting things, right?
Bugs. That's all I
Bugs.
think of.
Oh.
Is
What
like-
if you?
rats and
what
Porta
if you
potty
get?
is just gonna be a whole night of poo poo.
Can we
like
choose
a whole
what
night?
dumpster?
No.
Because can mine be next to a bakery? 'Cause
No,
that's just
no,
fresh
no.
Okay.
breads
Okay.
Yeah, it's
being
next to a
thrown
flower
out.
shop. Bunch of flowers in the dumpster.
Oh my gosh.
Have you ever
Always.
smelled
Can we
rotting-
choose
Always.
which
Can it be not a
dumpster?
dumpster?
Yes.
No.
I do
Yes,
have to
it's the
say-
dumpster
Brand new
behind
dumpster?
Walmart.
Can it be a recently
I
cleaned
do have to
dumpster?
say,
behind an Italian
In-
restaurant?
Unused dumpster.
in Kauai,
Empty
Okay.
clean dumpster.
in Kauai,
Okay.
Stop.
we went to a
All right.
coffee place,
Just
and there was
stop.
a porta potty that I'm pretty sure I was the first one to use it that day. So it was completely. It was the cleanest
Okay.
porta potty
So it's
I've ever been
that
in.
porta potty or a box full of flowers.
Okay.
Which would you choose to
A
spend the
box
night
full
in?
of flowers.
See, listen.
I
I'm
never cease to amaze me. It never does. I think
Every
it's-
single time.
Every single time.
my
Can it be a
first
pretty
job-
dumpster?
My first job was cleaning parking lots with my dad. Sunday mornings, like
Fun.
4:30 a.m. to
Parking
9 a.m.
lots?
cleaning parking lots. You think the cigarettes just disappear? No, I cleaned them up.
I believe
Once,
you.
And-
at least once. I mean, I don't know how many times. How many
single
times?
cigarette.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
But there was one parking lot that was, like in the parking lot of a hookah lounge.
Nice.
And they would throw away all of the like expired scents or whatever
Yeah.
it is. It has turned me away from hookah forever and just like dumpsters, like the smell of dumpsters. I'm
Well,
I'm really attracted to dumpsters these
I was
days,
super
but
attracted to
I'm
dumpsters.
waiting
Listen.
for something to turn me away
like
from
if
them.
someone's like, "Oh, let's go dumpster diving," no, I want to get
Nah,
near it.
nah.
Well, there's this dude that does that, or I don't know if he still does that, but my dad was rolling with this guy.
Your dad was doing it.
Dead serious. This
I
guy
know.
named Rob Green, who is like, he's this kind of Instagram personality, and his whole thing is like zero waste in my life. Like I want to, like he was doing this thing where he
That's
was
so
he was
rough.
living
so wasteful.
off of his own farm, and like he was gonna, not you, like he only had like 10 things that you own, like possessions. He was like, I'm gonna live my whole life with just 10 possessions, like a book, a spoon, a bowl, like my clothes, and a bag, or like something like that. It was like so my dad was rolling because he was filming this guy, and he would go to dumpsters at night, and mind you, he'd go with like a group of people that he'd like post on
Rob
his Instagram.
Greenfield?
Rob Greenfield, that's it. Rob
Wow.
Greenfield would post on his Instagram, "Hey,
He's
going
still doing that stuff?
dumpster diving tonight behind, the Vons. Here's the address. Like, see you there." And
He
my
lives in
dad
a
went
50,
one time.
50 square foot tiny home.
Yeah, now he's doing tiny home, but for a while he was homeless, and for a while he was just eating out of dumpsters.
Yep.
And it was crazy because he'd jump into the dumpster and pull out. It's like behind a Vons, so it's a bunch of like expired food. but
Yeah.
it's all totally like.
Edible,
He's like,
so.
look at this.
Is it
He's like,
really expired? It's like store expired.
exactly.
But is
They're
it
like
really
they have to
expired? No.
legally take it off the shelf
Yeah,
and
they
throw it in the
can't
dumpster.
sell it anymore.
And they can't, But he's like, here's a whole tray of cookies. He's like, here you go. These are all like, oh, here's bread, like tons of loaves of
Yeah.
bread. Oh, here's a bunch of vegetables. Like the vegetables is kind of gross, like because now it's in the dumpster. But
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, whole heads of lettuce that are still good that they had to throw
Gosh.
out. Like it's baffling. I'll tell
Well,
you what.
and
Yeah.
I read about somewhere that the reason that a lot of these places can't donate that stuff is because they can like legally come after
Yeah.
like these big corporations. But if somebody dies, it may not even be related to the food, but if somebody
Yeah.
and they make some sort of connection of like, oh, they had this expired food from Vaughn's. And even though, again, probably wasn't the food, they can legally come after Vaughn. So that's why a lot of these places, they
Yeah.
can't like, because I always thought like, why not donate it, right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
find a place and donate it. Because again, we all know it's not bad.
And
it's
it's
just
like-
legally you can't sell
You
it
know
or
how
whatever.
many preservatives and things that are in food that
Yes.
are allowed in this country
That
that they
aren't
don't even
allowed?
let them use in Europe?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, there's a whole list of things that are available here. It's like a list
That
of
are
100
banned.
different
There's like
things that
100
are
of them
banned.
that-
Not even like, oh, we don't use it because it's bad for your health. They're banned.
yeah, it's like technically food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
Thank
Starbucks.
you, fact checker Annie. By the way, big shout out to fact checker
yeah, Annie, you're
Yes.
on the fact check.
At
today.
Yes.
Starbucks, before COVID, it was whenever, because there's a difference
PC.
between the expiration
Uh-huh.
of when we can
And sell by, right?
Yeah, there's a sell by and then there's a use by. So at Starbucks,
Okay.
there's the sell by, and once it hits the sell by date, we put it in a bag that is used to donate to like Feeding America, because it's the use by date isn't until months later.
You mean this?
But-
Oh, okay. The use by.
Yeah,
I see.
but when COVID happened, we couldn't do that anymore. So we've been wasting
What is that?
so
What do you mean?
much food.
What does that possibly mean?
because I don't even
COVID.
know.
Exactly.
Everything's packaged in its own thing, and it's like
How much
really
nonsense went on in this country because we were like, oh, COVID.
Yeah.
All of
A lot of
the
nonsense.
not talking about like all the vaccine, all of that stuff.
Ryan's an anti-vaxxer.
I'm very much pro-vaccine, but you know how much nonsense went on in this country in
Yeah.
those like in between days of like, oh, y'all can't do it because of COVID.
Oh no, the crazy part was the Windexing the groceries.
Oh yeah, wiping down the groceries. Yeah.
I mean, more along the lines of like stuff that they just told us we couldn't do. Like
Oh, yeah.
I still am enraged when they were like trying to take away your like discounts at Starbucks or something. Or what was it like?
COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, or at the
Oh.
Padre game.
Oh yeah.
Oh well, yeah,
They're
they
like,
took away our
"Oh,
discounts.
'cause of
on the Padre.
COVID."
But at
Go ahead,
Star-
Annie.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, go
I am
ahead.
shook by this list.
Oh wow.
Oh, I told you, it's like
It's-
you want to
hundreds.
share it to the screen, or is it?
It's
I'm just gonna read
Just-
it. For
just
us.
like
read
a lot
out
of
the
ads. I'm
names
just
for
gonna
us.
read a
Read it.
couple because it's a list of things that American, like the FDA allows in America than other countries. You
Oh,
can't
go
even
for
grab
sure.
Oh yeah.
Go grab that Sour Punch Bites thing. There's at least like 5 things probably in there that aren't allowed in Europe.
come up with the Sour
Give us
Punch,
just a
okay?
couple of
First
names.
one, Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Oh.
Mountain
Mountain
Dew.
Dew's battery acid.
Well, yeah.
The third one was
A
Skittles.
younger John would disagree.
Yep.
Because there's so much synthetic. I bet you
in M&Ms,
Skittles is like
both of them,
80% plastic.
It's whatever they coat them in. The
Yep.
coating isn't allowed in
It's
other
like
countries.
plastic coating.
Milk. Most of our milk in America has a growth hormone in
Hormones.
it.
Yeah.
That is
Wow.
illegal
Because they
in
give
other
to
countries.
they give to cows, right?
Yeah.
And then it comes through in the milk. obviously.
Chlorine washed chicken. Most chicken
Yes.
seen on shelves in America
Yes.
That's
is
so rough.
like dipped in chlorine. Same with carrots. I can
Bleh.
taste certain
Well, that's like the
baby
wax on apples.
Okay,
instant
guys.
mashed potatoes.
How are we going to avoid this? Because now I can't eat anything else at Starbucks.
I think you just
Guys,
start
it's
growing
crazy.
your own food, right? Like
and
just
have chickens and
We have
just
to be
kill 'em?
like Peter and grow our own
Microgreens.
greens.
microgreen farm.
Hey, you should come on. We should have him on. I think he's got a lot.
Most
to say.
potato
Maybe
chips-
not though.
This is insane. There's a
mind.
preservative that can be found in everything from cereal, potato chips, chewing gum, and beer that is considered basically rubber. And in other countries, they don't allow it.
That's why other countries are so much healthier than we
That's
are.
why that's why we're
Yeah, it's true. We're,
Yes,
we're
they
like the
are.
number
they're
one
like, how is
obesity
America
country,
so
right?
so obese? And that's
Because
because
they're literally like
we're filled with
pumping
rubber.
us full of silicone.
Why?
And because it's all the bad stuff is so cheap.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I
Now,
guess
see, that's the
that's
thing.
it. I
guess
Is
it's
they got to
money
pump it
driven.
out.
So
Yeah.
I did a whole segment in school about this once, and it was called cornification. and it was like this week-long research into the corn industry in America. Basically, in World War II, we overproduced corn, and then once the war was over, they're like, "Oh crap! Now we have all this corn." So they
Corn
just
syrup.
put it in everything, and then,
Yeah,
and then
not,
we relied
not
on
to
the
mention
economy
the
so much.
industry, right? Like
Yeah.
those people were the millionaires at
Yeah,
that time, so
so-
then they were able to work
corn
it
men.
into everything.
So now we rely so heavily on the corn industry as an economy like staple that we still put it in practically everything in the United States. Some sort of corn
having a
byproduct.
history buff has been really beneficial. for
I'll
this
tell you
show.
what, this show is just going to take off.
I really think I need to like get tested, but I'm pretty
Okay.
sure I'm allergic to corn.
Really?
It's a common allergy
I'm
that people just
pretty
don't
You're
realize.
probably
sure.
not because it's in everything.
Yeah.
It's
You
literally
wouldn't
in
be able to eat
everything.
But you
anything.
can grow an intolerance from overexposure.
I mean, like I can eat tortilla chips, but I mean they do cause
So when you
discomfort.
eat,
but I'm
Cause
thinking
discomfort?
I'm talking
dead.
about like
They do
corn,
cause
like
discomfort.
corn on the cob.
Can you tell
like,
she's been
just,
doing
like,
her
sweet
dietary
corn,
research?
No kidding.
Like any like actual corn, not
Maybe-
like things made from corn.
we should do an allergy test. We should all get our food
That'll be
allergies
really
tested
exciting.
and then bring
Yes.
it
What's
up,
the
like,
allergy
stuff.
test?
Wow.
We're
I'm
all just
allergic
pricking our
to
fingers, putting.
penicillin.
We'd get taken it down because of blood.
guys,
Oh my gosh!
I'm allergic to,
Oh yes,
uh,
trigger warning, blood.
We're gonna have like a little quiz, little game.
Flour.
What are they allergic
allergic-
to?
What is he
Everything.
allergic
You'd be
to?
shocked. You would be
Shellfish.
shocked.
I'm not allergic to
Everything.
anything.
I'm allergic to
Oh,
anything
we
either.
want to bet?
I probably am.
Finger
Wait, you're not
Probably.
allergic to anything?
It
As
I'm
far as you
allergic
know.
to cats and dogs.
Oh, that's right.
So when
out
you
I
have to-
And also
deathly allergy.
probably what's it called? Pollen. Probably allergic to
Oh.
pollen too. But like just like seasonal stuff. Also
Seasonal
like
stuff. You have two cats. That's not
lactose
seasonal.
and shellfish.
and
And,
gluten and
gluten
everything.
and,
Is there
corn.
anything
So-
you can't? Is there anything you don't eat, John?
no.
Have we talked about this on the show?
No, well, maybe,
Well, not eat,
maybe a
like
long
things-
time ago.
Things that you think you're allergic to.
I
What
will
the
say
food
something.
intolerance?
What's the
No,
whatever, bad podcasting, Ryan.
The one
Bad.
thing that I would say I think I'm allergic to, but actually I did a little research and I think everybody has it, is pineapple. My
yeah.
tongue
Oh,
gets like,
It's too
Every-
too much
well,
but I
acid.
think
everybody's
it's
got that.
acidic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
not.
It's like
everybody's
slightly
got that.
poisonous.
Yes.
I thought it was me. Yeah.
You can't eat certain parts of the pineapple because it is like poisonous.
And you know, it's always the pineapple spears from like, Albertsons that are like,
that are like
Probably
really
dipped in
acidic.
chlorine.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
it's
dipped in
like
chlorine.
salicylic acid. Like, Annie, foods you won't eat.
well,
Not allergies, but foods you don't like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Different.
I'm
story.
pivoting. This is what
Yeah,
the pivot
pivot.
cast.
What
what
the
the
wow.
cast? Whoa, wow.
Whoa.
I like that.
Things deli meat. Like
Really?
that comes in that package. It has to be like very obviously dry. If it has any sort of like water to help preserve it,
Oh,
I
yeah.
know what you mean.
freaks me out. Ugh.
Interesting.
All of the deli
Bologna?
meat from Trader Joe's
still
is
eat it,
pretty.
but-
Never
So you won't eat like
I-
turkey in a bag, like a turkey
no,
sandwich.
unless it's no.
I know the packaging.
We're really
Wow, that was
triggering
a
her. I can
visceral-
see.
I was
I can
there's,
see
like,
some things
certain-
going on.
okay,
Ham.
There's like certain
Ham.
I know the
Salami.
packaging
I
you're
just throw
talking
up.
about.
I just
It's
like
like
Pam in the office. Just
Oh my god.
it's like
over
the
the
soft
side.
plastic packaging
Yeah.
that's like straight, and then it's like
yeah,
with, like, and it
because
holds-
there's like
I don't know what you're
Holds
talking
the
about.
meat.
I don't know what that was
like,
that you just did.
If you go straight to like, I can get it from an actual deli and they give it to you in
Sure.
like paper.
Yes.
Fine.
Love.
But if it's like
it says like
Best
deli
Buy
meat.
next month and it's just packaged in goo
And
can't
hormones.
do it.
John,
Can't do it.
What's up?
anything you won't eat?
Anything
No,
green?
I have a
Burn.
pretty decent relationship with food. I don't like. I there's nothing that I won't try once, and honestly, there's nothing that I've had that I actually like that I genuinely don't
Yes.
like.
Yeah.
You know?
I think for me, the more I grow, the more I eat food.
Wow.
It's in the preparation for me.
Snaps
I
for you.
like good food. There's no food that I won't eat if it's prepared well.
Yeah, and that's
know what I
me.
mean?
Like as long as it tastes like it's supposed to, I'm
Love
really
it.
bad at quality.
I love all food.
And I mean, I'll take better quality over like worse, but as long as it tastes generally like it's supposed to, it doesn't really bother me. Texture would be the only thing, but even then, I would try something once probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't know. From there,
I was killing some oysters this weekend. I was
See, that
Ooh,
texture
that's-
sounds
that would be
bad.
one of the
That
ones I
sounds
think I would
Just
run
he
into.
gets them
Of deli
fried with like melted cheese.
I do. I get them
like
oysters
not
right
just
for belly.
regular
See,
oysters.
I'm not a seafood person. I never grew up eating like
I got it. My grandfather was a tuna fisherman, so
Oh,
we were
see,
we were
okay.
eating seafood all the time.
Yeah.
That's cool.
See, when I moved to Hawaii, that was the biggest thing I got flack for. Is like, you're gonna move to an island in the middle of the
Oh,
ocean.
you're not
you
gonna
don't like
eat fish.
fish?
You're not gonna eat anything.
Which I'll try. Like
Of course.
I tried,
Yep.
fish
Do you
in
like
different places.
like sashimi? Can't eat it.
I think it's the texture.
Maybe
I think
that's
it's
our
the
next
texture.
show is a food
What the food
network,
cast?
what the food cast, and we just try different foods. 'Cause
Down.
that'd be fun.
Foods around the world.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll get allergy tested. One
Yeah.
of us like.
Or it'll be both. We'll
Yes.
eat the foods that we're allergic to.
kind of run into it, right?
Okay,
Oh,
Karen,
no.
go ahead. This is your. You get
saved
your.
me.
You get
Honestly,
your one.
last.
You get your 1
Yeah,
minute.
because we know exactly.
And I don't want to
My
know
1
why. I
minute?
just want to know. Just go
Okay,
ahead.
number one, anything that's onions or has like the texture of onions. So, number one, a regular onion, green onions,
Okay.
red
This
onions,
is
This is
everyone.
madness. This
Okay.
is
and
madness.
then the main thing that everyone's like, why were you scallions?
Scallions are also
can't-
Close to
onions.
onions.
Yeah,
They're all
it's
onions.
disgusting. What
She's
else
just
won't
gonna
I
list
eat?
every
I
kind
don't
of
like
onion.
meatloaf, like chunky meat. I don't love like
That's
super
probably
meat
banned
sauce.
in most countries.
Yeah,
Chunky meat.
chunky meat.
I don't like horse meat.
That's how it's called.
You don't like
Chunky
horse meat?
Back off with the horse meat.
I don't like
Tried
horse.
it?
I don't like horseradish.
Horseradish.
And then the one thing that's a texture thing for
To
me,
save us time, what will you eat?
Mac and cheese.
anything but this stuff.
Bread.
A
I'm
big
kidding.
texture thing for me was I tried, those aloe drinks.
Yeah.
I
It has chunks
the
Real-
of
taste
real
was
bits of aloe?
great, but the chunks of aloe were like in between like Jello and boba, so it was like a weird.
Do you like boba?
I love boba.
See, that's weird that you didn't like that then. But I guess they're too soft.
They're too they're softer than Jello.
It's like when you get kombucha and you get a piece of
Love.
the like
Of
Scoby.
butter and you're
I
like,
will
Scoby.
not have kombucha. I don't like kombucha and beer.
so this will be Kara's last night on the podcast.
Yeah,
That's it.
she's
So,
out. She's
Goodbye.
No,
So,
we've
I think
talked
that's
about
it.
the onion thing.
It's so funny because
madness.
it's
that's
so
it.
many of the things that I love.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
Opposites attract though, right?
sorry.
I suppose so.
I don't
yeah.
love pork.
You're gonna have
But
to argue
Ryan-
with
But
your
like,
kids' will.
like
Ryan
Cara,
made pork tenderloin
Cara's
the
like
other night. It was really
alcohol.
good.
I love
Love
alcohol.
alcohol.
Kara's like alcohol. I'm a
intervention?
borderline alcohol.
Yeah.
The onion thing we've
Cara
talked about
doesn't
on this
like
show,
onions. I love
and
onions.
it's like the more you try to understand what you won't and will have with onions, the less you actually understand.
Just
it.
ask my parents. Whenever they
I
get
just
me
have to
onion
be like,
rings, I take a
whatever.
bite of an onion ring, and if the onion is like, I would always eat the ones from Burger King. Do you remember the onion rings
That's
from Burger
probably
King
because
when
it's
it was
not
like,
an onion. It's just
There's
preservative.
nothing
It was
in
just
there.
mush.
In round
It's
shape.
There's
just
nothing
a
in there.
piece
if
of-
I take a bite of an
There's
onion ring
nothing in
and the
there.
onion like strings out, I can't eat it
so
anymore.
it's very situational. It's
Yes.
not has
Very.
nothing to do with
And-
with
and it's
onion,
really-
only
or the
onion
texture.
rings.
And it's all
Only
of it.
onion
It's
rings.
all of it's situational. If she decides she doesn't like it, I mean, she doesn't like it.
And
What-
my
what are you
favorite
gonna make her eat it?
conversation we had off air was at Outback, and we had a blooming onion, obviously.
Yes.
And you
Okay, those make me
would-
sick.
You had some though. You had some
The
at that
super
time.
crunchy
Bloomin'.
pieces that
She had the
didn't have any
Bloomin'.
onion. Yeah, I had the bloomin'.
Bloomin',
She's a
but not
big
the
fan of
onion.
Bloomin'. Does not like onion.
But we
believe it or
talked
not.
about it a little bit, and we talked about you guys are getting married, you're gonna have kids someday, and what effect this could have on your
Oh,
children.
like if I'll make them something with onions?
Because
no,
you won't
he'll
make-
make
no, no,
onions.
you won't
I will
make anything with
if
onions.
if
No.
my children don't like a food, I will simply not let them not like it. They will simply eat it.
And then Kara's on the camp of you will not even make anything with onions. in
And I
it.
think
No.
that's
I'll use onion
perpetuating.
powder.
That's perpetuating. Bad
No,
habits.
because you'll make
Right.
it. When I was little, I
love
used
this
to.
You're passing on bad genes
when
to
I
our
was
children.
little, it was onions and tomatoes.
Okay. And when did tomatoes change for you?
I think when I was
That's
Every
probably just
7
a
years.
taste bud thing. Yeah.
Every
no,
7
I
years?
think when I was in high school, I like started because I always loved grape tomatoes, but it was
Yeah.
always like slices on burgers or any of that. So that changed, and I love.
In
I will
April,
eat
we will have
tomatoes like crazy.
We will have dated 7 years in April.
Wow.
Maybe that
So
will
maybe-
change. Hey,
Maybe things will have changed.
Yeah, no. But the big thing was that Emma would copy everything that I didn't like.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when I
And you
didn't
see how
like
that's a
onions and
problem?
tomatoes,
You know what I'm saying?
Emma didn't like onions and
So
tomatoes.
you can see how it's
But
basically
then-
just like a choice, right?
But then I changed to liking tomatoes, and
Yes.
she still hates tomatoes.
It's
Does
a
she like
texture.
onions?
She still
though.
hates it. No,
I once
she
just-
won't eat onions.
I once was told that eating
Oh,
a baby
cilantro.
tomato.
So
I will
madness.
not
So
eat cilantro.
madness.
It tastes like soap. Cilantro tastes like
That's
soap.
a gene.
I know.
That's a gene difference.
I know.
Wow.
The onion's not a gene thing.
No, that's
No.
just Cara being weird.
That's just Kara.
No.
That's just Kara.
If I eat-
Am I right?
If I eat something that has like barely any cilantro in it, I will taste it and be like, nope.
This is Ryan playing
So-
us out. He's
Ryan's
like,
trying to get out of this because
Pico de
he knows
gallo?
it's complete
Pico de
madness.
gallo is my worst nightmare. Pico de
we
gallo.
just caught her mic and she's still over here listing onions.
That's by far my favorite trait of her role in this podcast is when somebody else starts talking about something, she'll just cut in with a piece of a segment from earlier and
Yes.
just be like, cilantro.
Yes.
And you're like, wait, what are we talking about?
Like, what?
So
This is the thing I do now. I just play out. Look, I
Stop.
think out of the 25 hours of podcasting, I think we at least did like 3 hours worth of just this nonsense.
And can I tell you, the music was one of my favorite
Yeah.
parts.
I
You're
think
so good at it.
The most nonsense part, because I started off with you guys and then I came back at like 3 in the morning or
Yep.
something. And there's one part where after we had solved the crime and there was all this stuff on the floor and I just went, let's play a game. What's that on the floor? It came up with a theme song. We went around. It was, and then it finished and I was just like, we've resorted to that.
okay, so
What's up?
Ryan, you can stop now. I'm done talking about food.
All right.
Calm it down.
Rise in this world.
Before we get to TikToks,
Go ahead.
I wanted to show this on the screen. Ryan,
Okay.
Thank you.
Wow. Abrupt stop.
Thank you.
And he'll bring it back in.
so yesterday, oh my, screw you.
I love the pause. That's my favorite part. And then it goes, right back into it. All right.
Thank
Tell
you.
us, Cara. Tell us.
So
Tell us.
yesterday, last night was the harvest moon, which means that
Wow.
like harvest moon is the beginning of fall.
Time to harvest.
So I went home yesterday and looked through my telescope because we have a telescope that we won on a game show. And look at this picture I got through the
Wow.
telescope.
It's kind of hard to see up there, but I'm looking down at the screen over there.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Because
Let me move the
you got a
screen
bad spot. Sorry.
a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
That's crazy.
So
fix that
everyone
for
can
me?
see.
what the bad spot over here?
Bad spot.
So-
stupid.
Put one up there,
So
huh?
beyond anything of normal podcasting.
So this is the moon from last night.
Did you just Google that?
No,
She took it.
Pictures of the
Guys.
moon.
She took it.
look at it up close. Annie, look at it.
No, it's insane. I can see it on the TV.
I
It's
can see it on the
insane.
TV too.
So
Beautiful.
Noah, whenever we look at it, he's been looking at Jupiter recently. So he has
Yeah.
like the lens that's super, super, super close.
So cool.
So when he put it on the moon and we put our eyeballs on it, we were all blinded.
It's blind. It's like looking at the sun.
Because literally, it was like looking at
Oh.
that,
Wow.
like even closer.
The detail is so
It's
sharp.
crazy. Yeah.
Oh, it was full on glittery, and we were like, okay. So then when he changed it, it was so much better. We were like, but still it blinded us. Like we looked up and we couldn't see anything because it was a full moon. But it literally, it's just incredible that my phone captured it.
yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that, like I took a lot to like
Shout
because it's
out
hard
to
to look through a
Apple.
telescope, but
The late 16th century, in the 1500s, homie made a telescope.
Isn't that
Pretty
crazy?
cool.
You know, I couldn't do that with all the technology today. I'd be like how, like to make a telescope. Do you think you could do that?
No.
Like,
no.
I mean, there,
Crazy.
as we know, there are people that are just built different. You
And
know?
was it like? Do you think they were just like they had less to think about, so they were like, well, I don't know, what if we like made piece of glass in a tube and then we looked at the sky? Like
Sometimes I think about that idea of like,
somebody built the internet, because I think about that all the time.
Listen.
yeah,
Like humans built the internet.
and you know that he did it like for free. Like the guy could have charged or whatever.
Telescope, you mean?
No,
No, the internet.
Galileo.
The guy that helped the guy that it pioneered the internet. Seriously.
John Internet.
Okay,
think
well,
about
you got
when
what
we-
I'm saying.
Alfonso Internet.
When
Yes.
we went to the moon, like the first time humans went to the moon, computers were still humans. Like it was a computer
Baffles me.
job. Like
That's that movie, right? Hidden Figures or something.
Ugh.
That they had to like do the math to get us to space.
yeah.
So stupid. Like, and,
All
and
right.
what have I done? What
Are we ready for TikToks?
Yeah, it's a whole other topic. Maybe we'll talk about it another day.
Yeah.
I have a theory about that. Let me write that down before I forget.
I have an ongoing debate with multiple people in my life. What's trippier, the internet or space?
Oh, I think we talked about this
Yeah.
when you were on the show.
I still stand by the internet makes way less sense to me than space does. because a human made it. I think of space like, God made it, like I'll never
Sure.
understand it. But like a human being decided to make the internet and somehow it makes sense and it works. I don't know. Never get it.
All right.
You ever
are
think
we
about
ready?
like the universe, like the vastness probably goes inward too. Like you can keep going smaller and smaller and smaller forever.
Stop.
Like what creates,
Stop.
what builds atoms, like
No.
what creates.
Yeah. Or the atom bomb that we just somehow figured out how to split a single
So
atom.
stupid.
Like what? Okay.
So
Anyway,
dumb. Wait, sorry.
TikToks.
Ryan and John react.
Ooh.
All
The
right.
only Tangled casting I accept. Okay, all right.
Sorry.
Let's start with
Let's
it
just put
half
that volume down a little bit.
Yeah.
There we go. That's a great idea.
Here we
Every
are.
week or something.
See,
Go ahead.
before these headphones changed, I was hearing none of that.
Well, I'm glad we got you new
Here we
headphones.
go.
Really glad. The only Tangled casting I accept when they inevitably make a Tangled movie. Okay. Don't know who that is.
Florence Pugh.
Great.
Don't know who that
he
is. Don't know who that is. Doesn't matter.
Oh, hey.
I'm so glad they got John Krasinski to play the guy that's in the movie for 10 minutes. The king.
Right.
Yeah, they paid
has no
millions
lines.
out the door. Okay, I missed a
your
lot
I
of
did it
that.
mostly for looks.
Oh,
background.
yeah.
Oh, this is so funny.
Here comes Ryan's. Here we are.
Right.
Hi, good morning. So you have an appointment at 10. Right now it's 8:30, so you should probably start getting up. Traffic's going to be light, but you
If you treated your personal assistant like you treat your Apple Watch.
You have 17 emails. Hey, someone liked your...
Gosh, the wind up on that one.
You've been sitting for a long time today.
You've been sitting for a long time. So good.
Ah.
Genius.
You ever think about that? You just punch that guy all day long?
I don't know that I do that very often anymore. I did it in the beginning, but
Ryan,
used to
the
do it.
minute,
Ryan's like-
the minute Ryan put that on, he smacked it.
I feel
The
a lot
minute.
I think I saw a lot of like TikTok and memes about it, and I was like, I got like really self conscious, so I stopped doing the
Yep.
whole,
Yeah, I don't do that anymore.
I
I'm
gave
just
it
like,
up, you know?
I used to do that back in the day, but I don't do that anymore.
Someday, when
Hey.
you've had your Apple Watch for a little longer,
I've been
stop doing that.
I've been doing one of these lately,
Two?
like the two fingers. The kind of
Ben
works,
10.
kind of
Classy
doesn't work.
version.
Yeah.
The Ben 10 smack.
Ben 10 throwback.
Okay, go ahead. I found the source of the ticking.
Some Comic-Con
it's
somewhere.
a pipe bomb. Yay.
You know.
You watch that video? You're a kid.
This is spooky.
Is it the
season.
puppet version of what?
It's a puppet version.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That was it.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
The
when I was
Potter
a kid.
Puppet Palace.
Yeah.
I watched the crap out of that video. I don't like this.
Spooky. Bum bum.
This is like the new thing. The only time I saw where they
Smoky
carve
guy?
the pumpkin out,
Yes.
not
Yeah.
necessarily smoke, but they do the pumpkin where they go
Yeah.
out and do a photo shoot,
Yeah.
or the guy will put a sheet over and put the sunglasses
Listen,
on.
I-
like,
Oh, that's the
I
ghost
like the
one. I love
ghost
that one.
I like that bad.
The ghost trend.
maybe we
Yeah.
should do it, huh?
We should do it.
Pass.
should be
what's
cool.
the
This
ghost?
is
No,
just
thank
for
Immediately.
everyone in this room.
Drank.
I want this cup.
No, I don't think you understand.
Basically, Ryan.
Look at it, color changing.
I didn't see anything.
This is just Cara. She's
Was
gonna
that
start
in
putting
the-
her Christmas list.
Yeah,
and these
for
TikToks
real.
What did you
Yes.
mention
for
earlier?
Ryan.
You said something earlier. You wanted something.
Did I?
Earlier, like just so everyone knows. What was that? I can't remember. I'll rewatch it.
That's my life now.
That's all.
Live now.
That's all I have.
You are worth it. True. Chill.
Oh yeah, my desktop. I
lot
made this
going on.
desktop.
Daily affirmations.
I made it.
Let the good times roll.
Wow, guys,
Wow.
we did it.
Wow, that felt like a breeze. Oh,
Just kidding.
so 24 more
I
hours.
wouldn't dream of it.
Unless I would.
Okay. Could you imagine? And then we went on for another 24 hours.
I'm already sweating right now.
I might
know,
pull
Well, we
back
had,
and
the,
sweat.
we had the
AC
AC on the whole
We did.
time. That's and I will say, it never got hot. I didn't feel like it ever got hot now, which was nice. But
Yeah, that was nice.
Man.
All in all, good times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hey, man.
Hey, you guys want to go get some Texas Roadhouse?
Yeah,
You
let's
know
do it. Do it. Do it. Come on.
Do it.
The
Kara,
record for the
now
most
there's
fast
4 of
gets?
us, so it's kind of like I mean, you were already
Before
outnumbered.
I was
but-
gonna say before you
Yeah,
get
No,
now
on.
it's
Annie's on
really
board.
outnumbered. The record for the most baskets of bread and rolls
Stop.
eaten is 23 baskets in
Hey,
one sitting.
By one person?
I know.
Or,
By-
our
by
next
table.
thing.
hey,
25 baskets for 25,
25 baskets for 25 years.
for 25
25 carat
hours.
magic in the air.
Oh no.
Not the song,
I
because
don't know.
we made that up. What?
Yeah, form your own opinions. We'll see you next week on What the Podcast.